全部壊して。
全部だからね。
Maki Zenin isn't a monster. She's what fairness looks like when the system refuses to change. Jujutsu Kaisen tells us that tradition exists to preserve order, but the Zenin clan proves something darker. Tradition doesn't protect people, it protects power. And when a system decides that someone is expendable from birth, the world calls them a threat when they stop asking nicely. Jujutsu Kaisen is obsessed with systems. Plans, hierarchies, inherited authorities, structures that claim to exist for stability, but in practice, they really only protect those in command. The Zenin clan is the purest expression of that hypocrisy. They don't value strength, they value permission. To them, power only matters if it arrives through the correct bloodline, if it manifests in the approved way, or is recognized by the people who are already benefiting from the system. Maki is born outside of that permission, born with no cursed energy, no technique, no real legitimacy. But what defines Maki's upbringing isn't exclusion alone. It's the humiliation that's dressed up as tradition. She isn't trained to grow, she's trained to endure. Every interaction enforces the same message. Know your place, accept your ceiling, and be grateful that you're even allowed to stand in the room at all. And this is where the Zenin clan makes its most dangerous mistake. They believe pressure creates obedience. But pressure doesn't just shape people, it reveals them. Maki doesn't absorb the clan's values. She studies them. She watches from a distance who gets protected, or who gets excused, and who gets praised for existing correctly rather than contributing meaningfully. She learns the truth early that this is not a meritocracy. It's a closed system. No matter how capable she becomes, the outcome is already decided. In hindsight, the door isn't locked, it just was never made for her. Most stories soften here. They'll offer a mentor or a compromise, quiet exception that proves the system isn't that bad. JJK doesn't do that, because some systems don't deserve a reform arc. They deserve consequences. When Maki finally breaks away from the Zenin clan, the narrative doesn't frame it as liberation. It frames it as her becoming inhuman in their eyes. And that reaction tells you everything. The moment someone the system devalues demonstrates undeniable strength is the moment the language changes. They won't say that she's impressive, but that she's dangerous. Not because she changed, but because the illusion of control collapsed. What follows next isn't chaos, it's precision. Every action is deliberate, and every target represents something larger than themselves. A rule that existed only to execute. And the hierarchy that mistook inheritance for wisdom. This is where people start to get uncomfortable. Because Maki forces a question with no clear answer. If a system grinds people down for generations, if it rejects reform, if it protects cruelty as tradition, what does justice actually look like? I'll tell you right now, it won't look gentle, it won't be polite, and it certainly won't ask for any approval. Maki doesn't offer mercy, she offers clarity. The Zenin clan calls her a monster because monsters are easier to dismiss than mirrors. And Maki, she's a mirror. She reflects back every compromise they made, every humiliation they justified, every time they chose order over humanity and called it wisdom. What makes her terrifying isn't her strength. It's that she proves the system was never necessary, that power didn't need their permission, that their rules were scaffolding for ego, and not foundations for stability. In that sense, Maki isn't really a villain, she's more like a consequence. Not personal, not emotional, inevitable. If Kakashi shows restraint in a broken system, and Itachi shows sacrifice in service of one, then Maki shows us what happens when neither restraint or sacrifice is enough. She's low-key the answer no one wants because it costs everything. Maki Zenin isn't the horror of Jujutsu Kaisen. She's what happens when cruelty is institutionalized, when reform is denied, when fairness stops asking politely. If you have a character you think we should break down next, let me know in the comments. This is Anime Under the Surface, and I'll see you guys next week.